Continuing with our series now on the Bob Simpson Part 1 auction, let's take a look now at some of the more noteworthy pattern coins that were on offer at the event. Despite him being diametrically opposed to the idea of depicting national leaders, especially himself, on federal coinage, the US Mint has a history of attempting designs with Washington and even Lincoln on them long before he eventually ended up on the quarter dollar in 1932. What we see here is a 2-cent coin with Washington on the obverse, dated 1863, with the unusual motto of God and our country along the top, struck in copper nickel with a plain edge. There are believed to be only around a half a dozen or so of these coins left. The current specimen graded as Proof 66 Cameo by PCGS and sold at auction $13,200. The 20-cent denomination was largely a doomed experiment that ultimately failed in practice after only a couple of years. It was an attempt to resolve a peculiarity created by a shortage of subsidiary coinage in the more western states. But we are getting a little ahead of ourselves here. Before the more familiar Seated Liberty 20-cent coin was put into production, William Barber proposed this sailor head design for the new denomination in 1875. One can't help but wonder what might have been if this was the coin that entered circulation instead. Graded as PCGS Proof 66 Cameo, this CAC-endorsed coin sold at auction for $30,000. Any list of rare and sought-after US Mint pattern coins is bound to include a copy of the present coin, known simply as the shield earring design. This distinctive 1882 dated half-dollar is so named for the Union shield earring that Lady Liberty is wearing. It is speculated that the reverse design inspired the reverse of the Panama Pacific quarter eagle coin of 1915, and you have to admit that there are just far too many similarities for this to be mere coincidence. This example was struck in copper, of which today only 7 copies can be positively traced, with 3 more having been speculated. Rated by PCGS as Proof 65 Brown, this coin fell under the auctioneer's gavel for $33,600. For a number of years, the Mint experimented with a proprietary silver alloy known as Goloid, comprised of, well, loosely 1 part gold, 24 parts silver, and 2.5 parts copper. Although this did vary from time to time, it was used to strike a broad category of coins known as the metric dollars. This story is a little more complicated than that, but for the purposes of this presentation, suffice to say that this is one of those coins. A $1 or 100-cent coin with the composition engraved on the reverse. The alloy was eventually abandoned amongst other reasons, as it was impossible to distinguish it visually from ordinary coin silver. This piece was graded by PCGS as Proof 69, and at auction it raised $37,200. Then we have a silver half-dollar dated 1877. The dies are attributed to William Barber, known as the Barber Liberty Head coins, where Liberty is wearing a type of stylized Corinthian helm, and the reverse has a small eagle inside a federal shield. I mean, it is a nice design, but am I crazy? Or to me, this has always felt like a sort of an American copy of an 1800s European crown instead of a unique design. Was Barber trying to emulate William Wyan perhaps, or pay some kind of homage to the European engravers of the time? Maybe it's my own confirmation bias, or am I just reading way too much into this? Let me know what you think about this. Either way, PCGS graded this coin as Proof 66 Cameo, and it sold for $48,000 at auction. When the Bland-Allison Act was passed in 1878, it mandated that large numbers of silver dollar coins be produced for circulation. The mint subsequently had to scramble to come up with a suitable design for what would later become known as the Morgan dollar coins. Not everyone was pleased with the design though, and in the next few years that followed, a number of new designs were prepared for consideration, none of which were ultimately adopted. But the current example is known as the Washlady design, after the seemingly haphazardly fashion that Lady Liberty's hair is tied back in. It is widely described as one of the most beautiful patterns, and frankly, I find it difficult to disagree with that assessment. Struck here in copper, one of about a dozen or so of these coins that remain extant, graded by PCGS as Proof 66 Red Cameo with CAC endorsement that sold at auction for $60,000. 1872 was an interesting year for pattern coins at the US Mint. It is the only year that, at least I'm aware of, that the full set of all 6 gold denominations were produced with a uniform design. Also, the same year that William Barber used his outstanding Amazonian designs, depicting Liberty on the obverse, somewhat reminiscent of the Seated Liberty designs, only here she is facing towards the left, holding a sword by the hilt while resting on an upright shield. Her outstretched right hand is used to pat an eagle on the head, a simply wonderful design that never made it into circulation. This silver half-dollar coin is one of the 10 to perhaps 13 coins known, and is graded by PCGS as Proof 65 Deep Cameo. It closed at auction for the sum of $90,000. This $20 pattern coin is a variation on the Amazonian design that shares the same reverse as the defiantly proud eagle holding 3 spears and a shield. But the obverse is very different, featuring the left-facing head of Lady Liberty wearing a Phrygian cap with her hair loosely tied back in a weather-worn ponytail. The current specimen is one of only 2 known examples to still exist that were struck in aluminium, authenticated by PCGS as Proof 67 with a cameo designation. It sold at auction for $114,000. Many collectors may be familiar with the gold $4 or stellar coins of 1879 and 1880, but what far fewer people may realize is that there was, in fact, a metric $20 or quintuple stellar that was also proposed along with the stellar coins. This is a pattern of that coin struck here in copper. The design bears overwhelming similarities to the coronet head double eagle of the day, with only the "In God We Trust" replaced on this particular coin with the Latin inscription of Deo est Gloria on the reverse. The obverse intermingles the metric weight measurements of the proposed coin with the regular 13 stars, 30 grams gold, 1.5 grams silver, 3.5 grams copper, for 35 grams total weight. Graded by PCGS as Proof 65 Red Brown, this Judd 1644 pattern sold at auction for $156,000. And then, a coin that appears to be quite familiar upon first glance. In fact, a cursory glance might not even reveal the true nature of this coin, due to the superficial similarities to its regular circulating counterpart. But this is not a normal 1916 die. Looking a bit closer reveals several key differences. The truncation of the neck on the obverse is far more delicate on the final coin, for instance, as well as the arrangement of the letters of Liberty is more symmetrical on the final coin. The reverse, however, is far more obvious, with the letters around the border being a lot closer to the rim of the coin on the pattern. The facies is also wrapped 3 times around the bottom instead of only twice, and the branches and leaves are obviously far more delicate on the pattern when compared to the circulating design. Now, according to Roger Burdett, these coins were actually struck in great quantity, with 2 million coins struck in August and September of 1916. They were all set for widespread circulation when 50 test pieces were sent out for final approval and testing. At this point, AT&T raised concerns as the coins were getting stuck inside the slots for their payphones due to the slight difference in thickness from the Barber dimes. The decision was taken to adjust the design of the coin ever so slightly to what we know and love today. And according to mint records, all but 10 of these coins were then recovered and melted down for recoinage. Today, this is the only known specimen that managed to survive this purge, with the other 9 coins likely having been lost to history. Or maybe you might actually have one of them and just never noticed. Either way, this unique specimen was graded by PCGS as Proof 64 and sold at auction for $192,000. So leave a comment if you're actually old enough to remember using a payphone, or just let me know which one of these coins was most fascinating to you. And let me know if you'd like to see a part 3 for this auction too. Maybe, because there are some nice coins left that I haven't discussed yet. Subscribe to WNN and activate notifications with the bell icon to know when new videos are released. For the World Numismatic News, I am Numisman saying thank you for watching, stay safe, keep collecting, and have a fantastic day.